Hey guys, Kaiju here. Today we're going to be doing a Kaiju review, and this one is pretty special because the figure that I'm going to be reviewing is a figure that a lot of people really want to get, or to those who do have it, say it is a very good figure. And I, as someone who just got it, can definitely say that this is a great figure. So what is that figure, you might be asking? Well, for the 40th episode of Kaiju Review, we're going to be reviewing the figure that I just got, which is the Giga Chimera. Of course, as we always do, let's start off with detail, and let me just state the obvious real quick. Yes, this guy is made out of quite a few monsters, 5 to be specific. So firstly, let's go to the heads. So this one right here is King Goldross, this one is King Silvergon, the chest area is Super Alien Hipparito. The body, or like, I don't know, legs, or some of the legs, is King Geshra. And the other set of legs, which is this large, immaculate thing with 2 heads, is King Pandan. So, with those 5 monsters, Bandai had a lot to work with here, but they definitely put in their best effort here. There is not a single area on this figure that is skipped out when detail comes to it. The detail is just all over the place. It's really nice. It looks amazing. This figure's actually pretty heavy too. It's heavier than most Bandai figures. It's probably at least a pound. So yeah, this guy definitely had a lot of work put into him. Paint is a bit lacking, kind of. Like, there's a couple areas where I think there could have been more paint, like the back here. As well as you can see, these spikes are painted. However, there is, well, let me move his arm up real quick. There is one that does not have any paint at all. So I think that could have been done better. But other than that, this figure looks amazing. So now we get into articulation, and because this is a bigger figure, there is definitely a lot. Firstly, I'll go over the most basic points. The waist can swivel. Up here at King Silvergon's horns, this is probably like the weirdest one. The horns can actually rotate. I found that very odd. I don't know if they can rotate through, well, I mean, they kind of can. They're getting a bit scuffed, but you know. Yes, so the horns can rotate. Then we move down to the arms, which is where the most articulation is. The arms themselves can rotate as well. Then we go down to the elbows, and all 4 of them can rotate. So that's very cool. Also, as you can notice, these are King Goldross and King Silvergon's arms. And then the wrists can also rotate, which I found also very cool, as Bandai really does not put in that much effort sometimes, so to see that the wrists can also move is just a very nice extra step that Bandai really did not have to do. So with that, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 points of articulation. Jesus. That is quite a lot, especially for a Bandai figure. Just have to raise the camera up there for a second because this figure is massive. And speaking of massive, to give you an idea of his size, we'll compare him to a couple of figures. Firstly, we're going to compare him to a Godzilla figure, though, because I just want to kind of give you a little bit of history about this monster specifically. So as you can see, the Bandai figure is big, but when we compare him to a Godzilla figure, you'll see that this figure is huge. However, this is not how big Giga Chimera actually was in his film debut. Godzilla can basically almost look these 2 guys in the eye. However, to pull out a smaller figure, this miniature Godzilla 2014, which if you don't know, Godzilla 2014 was about 300 feet tall, this is close to the size that Giga Chimera was in the movie. So, compared to a 300-foot tall Godzilla, Giga Chimera would be close to this size. Actually, it probably would have been a little bit bigger. It probably would have been close to this, if that makes any sense. However, still, this is much closer than this. So, yeah, this figure is massive, but the monster itself was also very huge. And finally, I'm going to compare it to one of its parts, which is also a very well-known figure for being tall. Super Alien Hipparito. And even Super Alien Hipparito is dwarfed by the size of the Giga Chimera. So, as you can see, this figure is just huge. So moving him back in the center, Giga Chimera, or the Bandai Giga Chimera specifically, is a great figure. This figure is really highly recommended by a ton of collectors, and I myself sought it out for years And even still, this figure was not cheap at all. I had to pay about $100 to get this thing, but compared to some of the other prices, that is pretty damn cheap. And yes, I just said that $100 is cheap on a figure, don't judge me. So, that is my review of the Giga Chimera. As you can tell, this figure does mean quite a lot to me because it is something that I've sought out for years, as well as being one of my favorite Ultraman monsters to ever exist. I hope you enjoyed the 40th episode of Kaiju Review. To my Jurassic fans out there, do not worry, this does not mean I'm going to come back to Kaiju content. Just wanted to kind of just review this guy and see this amazing figure. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.